Hey guys. Hello, come on in. Alexa, fan off. Alexa, fan off. Good gracious. All right. Today's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. We're gonna jump inside of Unity and we're gonna work on cinematic lighting. That is today's task. It's only one task for today, and it's cinematic lighting. And we're going to talk about what that means in just a second. I want to say a huge welcome to the new students. This is kind of wild. This list isn't even comprehensive of who joined yesterday and today, joined the program full-time game dev. So welcome William, Hernan, Thomas, Carol, Itachai, Christian, Lewis, or is it Louise? Kevin, welcome. And if you guys are interested in joining the program, check out the link below or in the chat. It's the New Year's sale, 50% off, plus 2D Art Pro and 3D Art Pro, which are my art programs. Excuse me, recovering from a cold here. So if you want to learn 2D Art and 3D Art, those are included totally free, but you're also going to learn how to make games on the technical side. That's Unity, Godot, or Unreal, whichever you want to learn, those are included free. Godot and Unreal are brand new courses included free, and so you can learn whichever engine you want. And also, this is the best part, you're going to learn how to go full-time, like Lord Grimm here. He actually took my methods of securing funding from publishers and securing funding from Kickstarter. Actually, Lord Grimm just did publishers, but I teach all about Kickstarter as well, or how to hit the Steamfront page, right? Whichever method you want to learn to secure funding for your game, you're going to learn it here. Also, my student here, let's see here, Chris, he went full-time as well with Kickstarter. Again, took my course. Thomas Brush's course works, everyone. Beautiful quote there, so I splashed it on the website here. 50% off. There are 12 days left and 20 hours. And I think there's 80 seats left. We started with 100 yesterday. I think we sold maybe 20. So check it out below. All right, let's jump inside of Unity and get started. By the way, guys, feel free to download my free 2D game kit below. It's totally free. It's my treat to you. I used this exact 2D game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in 14 days, and then I got to play it in front of his subscribers, which was really awesome. So download that. Use it however you want. It's my treat to you. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's open up our scene here. What the heck, right? Let's zoom on in to our level, and what you'll notice is everything is very bright here. Okay, so a lot of people, their thought process with lighting a scene is, well, why don't I just dim every single light? Well, if you're making a more creepy, kind of a moody, dreamlike game, you can actually get away with less lights, but just crank up the intensity of the lights, okay? So here I've already cranked up the intensity for every single light. Every light is very, I would say, hot, very bright. And so what we can do is we can go into each little light and turn them off, okay? I wanted to show you an example here from this Resident Evil 2 sort of ambient video that I like to play every once in a while in the background while I work. Okay. Let's study this really quick, guys. What do you notice about the lighting here? Okay. Let's figure out some concepts or maybe some principles that make this well lit. Does anybody know? What are some principles here? Let me know in the chat. How you doing, Honest Dev? Christian Carter, Ferris, AVF, Ferris? I already said that. The Courage, Hermanth. Oh, good. Christian Carter says there's a focus point. I like that. Okay. So there's a focal point. Anything else? What else do we notice? We've got a focal point. I see complementary color here. We've got some blue from moonlight, but also some warm light coming from the wall lights. There's reflections. Good. We'll be doing that. Sorry, guys. I'm recovering from a cold here. There's also this, and this to me is some. I could see it here, but maybe I'm wrong. But this is what I'm going to talk about a principle that maybe isn't true here, but I think it's true. So I'm going to go for it. Sometimes they'll increase the brightness of a certain area, and they'll do it with a single spotlight or a point light. Okay, so they'll create an imbalance of light. So even though we have these 3 lights here, there's more light over here. Okay, and I wonder if we could open this up in Photoshop and double check it. But regardless, let's go into Unity here and apply these principles. The first thing I like to do when I'm lighting a scene, we need to increase the brightness here. Are those actually, let's see here. They're not off, so what's going on here? Let's double check. Okay, we just need to increase the brightness of this emission. There we go, okay? So the first thing I do when I'm lighting a scene, and guys, you can apply these principles with 2D art as well, okay? The first thing I do when I'm lighting a scene is I think, what's the focal point? Well, this right here is the focal point, okay? Everywhere else is not a focal point, okay? So let's make this the focus. I also want to create some kind of lighting here. Let's see here. So that these are at least lit. So I like the hallways here being lit a little bit so we can see to our destination. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to kill a variety of lights. Okay? It's okay to have light architecture and it's not actually lighting anything. It's just there to make it feel more real. Okay? Especially if it's like an abandoned environment. All right. Checking the chat here. Danny asks, what is the game you doing? This is called Twisted Tower, and Twisted Tower is this creepy Bioshock-esque video game that we're making. Okay, so let's swap out this one with a off lamp, okay? So Unity has this really cool tool now, which allows us to just drag it, and it's new to me. You could drag in a new prefab and just swap it out. So that one's off. Let's make sure we turn off the emissive. Good. All right, so let's do it again here. All right, sorry, my tongue is kind of tied today. Having trouble getting words out. Okay, so we've killed those lights. Let's kill this one as well. So you kind of have to think of like maybe if you were a film director and you walk on set and you're thinking, how do I make this look moodier? And so you can just walk around the Unity scene. And I actually like to start with the scene fully lit. So Felipe goes in, he creates, Felipe is our 3D artist. He goes into the scene and puts lights everywhere, right? And we've played through the entire game and the whole thing is so lit. And you'll notice that the game just isn't creepy. And so I have to go into each scene and start shutting off lights. As if I was walking through a hotel and just flipping off lights and trying to see how do I make this hotel creepier, right? Okay, we could probably kill this one. So I have these off variants that I can just replace. I like that one. You know, the truth is with horror games, less is more. Now, would you rather see into the shadows subtly or would you rather the shadows be completely black? Okay, let's take a little vote here. Completely black shadows or barely see into the shadows? What do you guys think is best? Completely black shadows or barely seeing into the shadows? Which is creepier? Does anybody know? Okay, it looks like we have a light here that we can probably kill. We can kill this one as well. We don't need that. So we're using real-time lights in this game. The truth is, though, we could probably kill about 60% of these real-time lights and just crank up the intensity. Watch this. Here we go. Look how moody this is going to look. Good. Maybe bring it down. Ooh, there we go. Bring it a little bit closer. Now we have these hard shadows being thrown. Barely. That's right. Barely seeing into the shadows is scarier. It's because your mind will play tricks. And also allows you to help see silhouettes of enemies if you see them in the distance. Okay. I can probably crank up the emissive here. to sort of justify this intense light. There we go. So now already you could see we have much more. Look at that. Look at the difference, guys. Do you see the difference? And by the way, we have not even baked our mixed lights. Now from yesterday, those of you who joined us, what is a mixed light going to do for us? Does anybody know? If we bake a mixed light, what exactly does it do? Does anybody know the answer? Okay, let's see here. That's the focal point. I think that I'm going to kill this. Why am I going to kill this? Because I want to create a green area over here. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Anytime I see two colored lights combined, it muddies things out and grays it out. So what I try and do is separate the color. Okay, so we'll go to this one here. Turn it off. Make sure it's 2 by 2 by 2. Okay, and I'm going to take one of these, just one of these TVs. I'm going to turn this one off. And I'm going to take one of these TVs here, and we're going to crank up this point light significantly, okay? I'm going to turn off the volumetric. Who knows what a volumetric is? Anybody? And I'm going to crank this up and crank up the range. Look at that. Okay? Cinematic lighting in a game is probably going to be what we discussed with the screenshot here. It's going to be like inconsistent. You're going to see an imbalance. You're going to see like, why is that TV brighter in this scene than it was in a previous scene? And for me personally, I would rather have cinematic lighting than realistic lighting, okay? Or consistent lighting. The color is consistent. We're always getting this green color from TVs. But in my case here, it's going to be broader and wider, or more intense, okay? Look at that. So this isn't a, I would say this is not a focal point necessarily over here, but it does create this creepy little area. And it also creates a complementary color shift between green and red. Now up there is pretty dark. Baked shadows are going to help us, but I would rather this actually be up here. So I'm going to move this up here so we can see above the door, or maybe, yeah, we could probably even rotate it like this. And I'm holding control when I rotate, and also control when I move, so that it moves along the grid, but you'll notice that it doesn't snap there, so I'm going to do that. Pretty cool. Maybe just put it right here. There we go. So does that make sense, guys? Hopefully that's really, really helpful. This is something I had to learn in the last couple months of just experimenting with light. Less is more. Less is more. It doesn't mean you create black shadows. It means you broaden up those few lights you have, and that light spills throughout the scene, okay? Now these black shadows here, they're going to bake in with mixed lighting, okay? Mixed lighting is going to bake into the shadows bounced light, okay? So far so good. I love that. That is spooky. So just because, you think it's smart to put a light here from I would say an architectural perspective, you don't have to do it based on what is practical architecturally. Because this isn't a real world, right? This is a video game. All right. It's good enough. This is way too lit over here. So what do we do? Well, why don't we kill this? Two by 2 by 2. There we go. And let's think here. Maybe one of these could be the source. So all of these could get killed. Good. Oh no, Thomas, I can't see. Hang on. And we're going to create, I love offset light. We talked about this yesterday. Why do I look generally decent in this frame? Is it because of that light back there? No, that light's not doing anything. Is it because of the TV? Is it because of the TV? No, it's because of this light right here that you can't see. It's a big, broad light right here, and it's shining soft light into my face. It's at an angle. Why not put it in front of the camera? Right? Because that's going to look washed out. We're creating shadows on the right side of my face. Okay? That's what makes things look interesting and attractive. Where's my screen? There it is. So let's take this single light here. And again, this is true with 2D, guys. If you use 2D lighting or you're illustrating something in 2D for a 2D sprite, same principles apply. Okay. So let's crank up the intensity. That's pretty cool. Crank up the range. So we're starting with a generic intensity and range for all of our lights because they're all prefabs. But I'll go into the individual ones I want to mess with and broaden it up. Good. Now you'll notice that the shadows aren't very hard here. Let's see here. Let's go to real time and see what's going on. That's good enough, I think, actually. So we're good. I'm going to change it back to baked. All of our lights are set to baked by default. We're seeing some light flickering in and out, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the range of... If you have super broad lights that are near each other and they have a very broad range, they're going to conflict with one another. In the editor, I'm not sure if it's happening in the actual play mode, but I'm going to kill that light too. Good. That is super spooky. I actually really, really like this light. I think we could go a little bit more, I would say choked is the word. Yeah, something like this, just to create more drama. We could even point this spotlight. That's the volumetric, so we could point this one like this. Yeah, I like that. It's more what this would be called is something like a practical light. It's not really doing anything to light the scene. It's just lighting a specific area to make it feel a little bit more interesting. We could probably keep the point light here, but just soften it so that we're just getting some bounced lighting like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I actually kind of like this light on over here. And I wonder if we can make this right here turned off. Because I like the idea of some of these being off. Like it's because it's an abandoned theme park. So we're going to go to off, turn that off here. And we're going to create a new variant from it. Who knows what a prefab variant is? Does anybody know? What is a prefab variant? Okay, and we're going to take this and duplicate it so it's off. Unless I'm mistaken here, does tickets have its own? It does, okay. Oh, wow, it's its own quad? That's not good. Okay, so let's take this here. Delete that. This prefab here, we don't need the off version anymore. So which one did I swap out? Yeah, so that's incorrect. We're going to go back in time here. Delete this, okay? And this one here, we're going to go to our neon stick off. And then just drag it here. There we go. Cool. We might be able to just do a more subtle. We just want to create some variation here. Yeah, good. Okay, so that looks a little bit different now. That's cool. Over there. Do I care though? I don't know if I want this on. Let's turn it off. So let's go to off. Yeah, very spooky now. So this feels a lot more cinematic to me. You guys want to enter play mode and take a look? Let's see how this feels. Let's save our scene and enter play mode. This is what makes games look great. If I do say so myself. This lighting, cinematic lighting where there's offset and imbalanced lighting that cascades through an entire environment, casting long shadows, that's what's going to make it look interesting. That's going to make it look kind of like a horror game or like a Bioshock-esque game. Do you see that? So we're actually accomplishing more even though it looks a lot better. We have a third of the amount of lights we were using, but we cranked up the intensity and the range to get this creepy mood here. The shadows are pretty painful. The resolution's bad. But I don't really care. as long as it gives me a mood. This is great. I love seeing that. Okay. So we're getting flickering because the occlusion culling has not been baked, so no worries. And that actually, I just figured it out. That's what's causing the flickering lights. Yay! What's causing the lights to flicker in and out is because of occlusion culling. When I move a light like that, this light's gonna cull out and you're gonna see it flicker. So that's good. All right. This is a great area. I love this new coloring. Cool. There's our lever. And now we can see the doors opening. That's good. Perfect. Okay, so it's super dark. So let's double check and make sure that the mixed lighting, baking bounced lighting into the shadows is going to be helpful to us. Okay, we want these shadows to be visible. All right, just barely, just barely. This is true in filmmaking. If you're going to film something, and for those of you who are curious, I make short horror films as well. What I've learned over the years is you never really want, especially when you're filming before the edit, before you open it in Adobe Premiere or Final Cut, before you make the edits to the color grade, you want to make sure that the shadows have information in them. If they don't have information in them, you can't bring out details because the details don't exist, right? So we want to have some information in our shadows pretty much at all times. Unless I'm like an event, crawling an event with a flashlight, I really want to see information here. And that's all achieved with mixed lighting. So I'm going to save this scene here. Make sure you save before you do this, but we're going to go to our rendering light explorer and we're going to find all of our lights that are set to baked. Any light that is a wall light or it's an environment light is baked in this game, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and set all of these to mixed, and we're going to go back in time and set them back to baked after we do the bake. And the reason we're doing that is because we don't want all of our baked lights to be changed to mixed lights by default in the entire game, because we may want to make this game for Nintendo Switch or, God forbid, mobile, right? And we'll need to bake every light and not use mixed light, okay? Mixed light is not going to do a full bake. It's just going to bake indirect light. So these are all set to mixed. So now I can go to my lighting tab, and as long as everything's set to static here, which it is, and this was a long process from Felipe. Felipe's the 3D artist. I had him go through every scene last week and mark everything as static. If it's not moving, it's static. Okay, so everything in this scene is static except for things that move, like this door. We're going to go to lighting here, and we're going to go ahead and generate the lighting. Now you'll notice that our indirect intensity is set to 2.5. If you can't see that, no, you can see it, okay. That's a little intense. So we're going to set it to 1.5. We're doing a very low texel count for our light map resolution. Texels are going to be the #1 performance reducer of the bake, or speed reducer of the bake. If I was at 40 texels, you'd get a high resolution of all of this indirect lighting baking into our walls, but it's going to take all night. And so I want it to only take about 2 minutes here. So I've set it to 3 texels. So let's watch. Just watch, guys. Keep an eye on that shadow. Watch what happens here. And because I have progressive updates on, progressive updates will try its best to prioritize where I'm looking in the scene currently. Okay? So we'll see if that actually works. So let's watch this bake as it happens. Okay? While it does that, AVF says, why, God forbid, mobile? A game like this is really, really hard to optimize for mobile. It's not that it's impossible. It's just you're going to need an entire optimization team who knows what they're doing to get this thing to run. So let's take a look at these shadows here and see if we can get some indirect light. That TV might be a real-time light. Let's double check. If it is, it's not going to work. It is. Okay. So this light is real time, and that's not good. let's stop the bake, because that's not why we're seeing things not fill in here. So we're going to set this to, we're going to go into the actual light source here. And we're actually just going to set this one by default as mixed. Rarely will I ever make the default mixed. Usually the default is baked, and then I change it over to mixed. Okay. Now we're going to have to go back in time here, but hang tight here. Let's go ahead and just bake out this lighting and see what happens. Okay. Yeah, this is why a good GPU helps a lot. I agree. And my GPU is, well, it was like the top-notch GPU, at least last year when I bought this PC. So it should be good here. So let's watch this and see what happens. Okay, again, we just changed this light here. We changed it to mixed. So what mixed is going to do, and it's so important that you guys listen to me, because you're not going to hear this. You're not going to hear this anywhere. At least I couldn't find any of this information on YouTube in tutorials or in Unity's documentation. There it goes. Do you see it? There it goes. I love seeing it. Oh, it's just delicious. Freaking love that. You're not going to hear this information anywhere else. So listen. Listen closely. Mixed lighting is going to bake the indirect light. It is not going to bake the direct light. What is indirect light? Anytime a light source hits something, it bounces off something and hits another wall. That's mixed lighting. So that's why you're seeing subtle light scattering. It's almost like if you took sprinkles and threw them through the wall into a room. The sprinkles that bounce off the walls and hit the ground, that's what's getting baked, not the sprinkles that hit the walls. Or a better way of putting it is, if I took paintballs and shot paintballs all over the room and they're bouncing all over the place, the first bounce, it doesn't count in the bake. The ones that hit after and scatter throughout the scene, those are getting baked right now. And that means that the real-time, I can still have real-time light here, but if I turn it off, we still see information here. Look at that. We're still seeing indirect light. So you'll notice why this was so important. Now the scene looks a lot creamier. We actually have some baked ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion is sort of the creases. It adds shadows to the creases. It's what makes things look, again, creamier, more cinematic, more realistic. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? And by the way, those of you just joining us, just remember you can join Full-Time Game Dev below. 50% off. You're going to learn from somebody who's actually in the trenches making games. Yes, that's me. You learn from me about how to secure funding from publishers. So I'm on my third game working with my third publisher, 3D Realms, which is a 30-year-old publisher who made Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem. So I know my chops. I know how to get funding from publishers, and I teach you how to do it. And I also teach you how to make games, right? Godot, Unreal, Unity, whatever you want to learn. All right, so our baked lighting looks so good here. Look, this was not here before the bake. And that's at a 3 texel bake. I don't even know if I need to go any higher than a 3 texel bake. So this already looks incredible. Big fan. You can see the fog rolling. Okay, good. I'm happy with it. What do you guys think? Are we happy with it? Do we want to move on to the next level? Are we good? I love it. Sorry, I'm just looking for any weird dark shadows. I love this shot. That is what we're aiming for. It gets crisper the closer I get. Good. Now you notice that we have some weird reflections going on, like right there around the rim. That's because we don't have any reflection probes currently. Weird lighting here, because we don't have proper reflection probes. That's a whole other discussion, okay? Are we ready to move on, guys? Good, okay. 10 out of 10? Good, okay. Very cool. I want the ticket signs to flicker. Me too. Let's go ahead and set the Alexa fan on. Alexa, what are you doing? Alexa, fan on.
I can only explain recent voice requests, but I'm learning to explain more of my actions. You can check the
You better stop. Alexa.
for more information.
Alexa, fan on. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Now let's go back in time because we don't want all these lights to remain mixed. Just because I go back in time and they swap back to baked doesn't mean I lose my bake information. The bake information is still there. Kind of a little trick. So I'm going to go to, what was the one thing that I did though? I fixed something. Oh, TVs need to be mixed light. So let's make sure we do that when we go back in time. There we go. Hang tight here, guys. Just pressing Control Z. There we go. Back to baked. There we go. All right, but let's go to our TV and make sure these are set to real time. Or I'm sorry, mixed. Oh, sorry, did I get your AELXA devices going, guys? I'm sorry. Okay. Guys, hey, say hello to Mr. Gordon. Let's give Gordon a little pat on the back. Welcome, Gordon, to the team. Gordon is now working with the team right now, actually. Gordon, are you working right now, buddy? Yeah, he's on YouTube. I thought you were working, dude. I'm just kidding. And feel free to ask Gordon some questions if he has time and he can answer them. He started working with us, I think it was it last week, Gordo? Mixed. So that's all set to mixed, so we're good there. Save that out. And yeah, let's get some lights flickering. I would say the TVs, oh man, there's a flickering light I love. Let's go to this one here. We're going to swap this out just so I can look at the information. Is it wall 2 variant? There's a light. Ah, there it is. That's called Casino Wall. Yes, okay, so this one has some flickering, a flickering effect. So we're going to copy that component and we're going to paste it on just one of these, okay? Not every TV needs to flicker, I don't think. So we're just going to do it just with this one here. So paste the component here. Paste. There we go. So that's going to flicker. And we should probably do, oh, the bake information's still there, so that's good. That would be creepy, honestly, if this was flickering. So let's go ahead and set that to flicker. And you don't want too much flickering. It can get really annoying. But let's hit play and take a look. And also, my dad's name is Gordon. I'm a big fan of Gordon's. Okay, let's take a look here. Not flickering there. What about here? That looks a lot that looks a lot subtle. It's probably a little too subtle. I think it's occurring. Yeah, it's occurring. So we're going to make it pretty aggressive. Negative 100 to 100. There we go. You see? Very, very cool. It's just that creepy factor. What are the two most important aspects of a horror game? Does anybody know? What are the two most important aspects of a horror game? And be specific. Don't say something generic. Say something specific. But they are, I think it's a tried and true rule. Two things that are so important with horror games. We'll do 150. Death. Okay, tension, sure, but how do you build tension? What is it? Okay, sound, yes. Sound is 100% one of the most important things. Anybody else know? Lighting and sound, that's right. One of you said atmosphere. Well, atmosphere is created with lighting and sound. So that is correct, but it's not specific enough. There we go, guys. Look at that. This is what I mean by lighting and sound. You see the light flickering? We could probably go a little bit more intense. How about negative 250 to 250? Beautiful. Good. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next. Little area. So again, I put on my director's hat, and I jump into a scene, and I pretend I'm a filmmaker. That's how I think about lighting. And so I jump on in, and I start walking around, and I'm looking at things. What do I want to do here? This scene looks good. I think up there is fine, actually. It's kind of spooky, that one little light. So let's go to this area over here and just walk through. Okay, we've got a problem. It's a little too lit. Okay, so why don't we kill this light, okay, and make that TV our only light source? Has anybody ever been in a room at like midnight and all you see is that TV flickering? Let's do that. There's a movie called Skinamrink. Has anybody heard of the movie Skinamrink? Yes, no. Anybody heard of the movie Skinamrink? Skinamrink is basically, like, the whole movie is basically lit by TVs. It's really spooky. While you guys keep me open in the tab, don't stop watching, but open up a new tab and turn on the Skinamrink trailer. And we're going to, actually, I'll just pull it up so we can get inspiration here. Okay? Skinamrink trailer. And we're going to accomplish the same feeling here. Okay? One of my dreams is to get to sell a movie to Shudder. Listen.
In this house.
There it is. Let's accomplish that. You ready?
In this house. In this house. In this house.
Okay. Let's accomplish this. It's not going to be hard. Why did you not turn off, you effer? Hang on. There's like 2 there. That's weird. That is weird. Okay, let's turn this off. Okay. Here we go. You guys ready? So we can throw on a flickering light. There we go. It's going to be intense. So let's do -200 to 200. Flicker smoothness, we're going to do 100. We're going to do an interval of like 0.4, so it's really fast. I don't need the volumetric light, so we're going to turn that off. And we're just going to crank up the intensity here. Okay. There we go. And do we want to broaden the range? I think we do. But those shadows are a little hard, aren't they? So we can just drop it down. Okay. I think the range, actually, we want to do something like that. Okay. Let's pull it away from the TV a little bit. You guys ready to take a look? Yeah, AVF, it is really, really scary. And that trailer is a really good example of why lighting and sound are the crucial key components of any horror film or game. We could probably crank up the fog. I think we need a little bit more fog for this area. We could do like 0.08 or maybe even 1. And the strength. It's a little much. But anyway, let's go take a look. There we go. That creepy little... man, flickering lights is just such a quick way to get horror, but or have horror. But the problem with flickering lights is it can get annoying really, really fast. So it's very situational. It needs to be less frequent. So what do you think, guys? Okay, so that's cool, especially seeing it in a hall like that. But in this area, now it's not creepy anymore, right? So we're gonna make this scene creepy next. Okay? So let's take a look. Okay. Okay. Now let's go into this scene here and reduce our light. Now what's the first thing we should think about, guys? When we go into a new scene or a new area, what's the first thing we think about? Does anybody know? What's the first thing we want to think about? Too light? It's too bright? Yeah, you're probably right here. Let's take a look. There we go. Nope. When it comes to lighting, what's the first thing we're going to think about? The focal point. Where's the focal point? Well, I think that should be our focal point for this scene, okay? So let's kill a ton of lights. Let's kill a ton of lights. Killed that one. I kind of like the shadows here. So I'm tempted to make that the focal and just spill light all the way across. We're going to do that. We're going to take a risk here. Let's kill this light. Does he need to be 3 by 3 by 3? Yeah, he does. Okay. All right. That table light's kind of cool, but this over here we're going to kill. Okay. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, and also let's clear the bake. When you're seeing two weird shadows like this, it's just something that if you're intelligent like me, you're going to figure out. You're going to know when something's off. So in that case, it's like, that's wrong, so you got to clear that. That baked information was incorrect. Okay. All right, so clear the bake before you get working on the lighting. When the lighting's done, then you go ahead and bake. All right. What is that decal? Yeah, that's wrong. I'm going to delete that decal. That's cool right there. I love that scene or that shot. And I'm thinking of it in terms of like filmmaking. Okay, so let's kill this light. And I know what you're thinking, Thomas. You're making all the light go away. And I understand that. And you can see there's plenty of issues with the reflection probes. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, that's good. Okay, we're getting there, guys. I love that hall light up here. Oh, man. It makes me think of The Shining. Seeing light come around a corner is so scary. I don't know why. This light here, kill it. Okay. Again, we're seeing some major issues with our reflection probes. Let's double check and see if we can solve this pretty quick here. This reflection probe, what we're going to do, we're going to set it to a solid color, have it show nothing, and we're going to go pretty dark here with like a red. There we go. So that is going to be our new reflection probe. We're going to bake it, but it's going to try and bake the indirect light, unfortunately. So hang tight. No. I hate how you have to do a freaking bake. Just let me bake the reflection probe. Why? Okay, hang tight, guys. It's going to try and bake all of our lights, but we need to bake this reflection probe because this is causing major problems. Some of you, if you didn't know what a reflection probe was, you'd look at this and you'd go, where is this light coming from? Is this a directional light? Is this an environmental light? But it's not. It's a reflection probe issue. So let's let this bake occur. Reflection probes, what they're doing is they're finding the smoothness information and they're finding the metallic information. Well, reflection probes send data into the reflection data. It sends reflection information into the materials that contain a metallic or a smoothness. And so it's got to reflect something, and it doesn't want to reflect the environment because that's too it costs way too much. And so it's going to just it's going to find that probe, and it's going to say, okay, I'll reflect the probe. Really weird, I know, but let's let this bake happen. %of players won't see it or care. I don't know. You know, there's something called, I don't know what it is, subconscious visuals. You subconsciously know. Let's go ahead and clear the lighting data though, but the reflection probe will remain. So now our reflection probe data is much better. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's fine. Okay, now, Thomas, it's way too dark. You just killed the mood. Well, hang on. And just remember, those of you just joining us, you can join full-time game dev below. It's 50% off right now. You're also going to get my 2D and 3D art programs completely free. Whether it's Godot, Unreal, or Unity, it doesn't matter. This program is going to teach you all of the technical aspects of game development, but also what I've learned in the last 10 years of securing funding on Kickstarter and also from publishers. And hey, if you don't want to secure funding with just a demo before you finish your game, you can also learn how to just launch a game on Steam and hit the Steam front page, which I've done as well. All of this is taught by somebody who's actually done all of this stuff, okay? Those that can't do, teach, right? Unless your name is Thomas Brush, because I do both. All right, so let's take a look here. It's 50% off. I think there's 13 days left, around 80 seats left. If you're a student, let us know what you think about the program in the chat. Okay, range. We're going to increase the range. Hey, very good. And I just like to angle things and see if I can create more visual interest. That's sick. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to make this real time for now. Drop down the intensity. Look at that. So now we can see more into the shadows and set it back to baked. Just a weird idiosyncrasy with Unity. Look at that, guys. That is so spooky. I love that. So yeah, we killed that light up there, but we've also got a much creepier scene now. We could probably add some light here from this fella. Yep. But you don't want to kill the visual interest of the focal point. So you just want to make sure that you're not creating too much conflict of lights. This one here, I'm going to pull it away from the wall, crank up the intensity and the range. I think I'm okay with that, actually. It's a little much. I love that silhouette. And that is why we're doing this, by the way. Less light creates silhouettes. More intense, less frequent lights create silhouettes. But again, we want to bake the data. Why are those? They look like they're emitting something. Wait. What is happening here? Why are you doing this? He seems like he should have shading at the top there. Okay, not gonna worry about it. All right. Pretty good scene here. Pretty spooky. Right? We may want to stack this. Yeah. Okay, but this one at the top, I think we can make it flicker. Okay. So we're gonna reduce the intensity. Bring it up closer. Right? Reduce, reduce, reduce. Just want more going on up there because it's a little boring up there. The flicker is going to be more intense though. So like negative 100 or 100. So it should be doing like this. I mean, that's really what it should do. We can even say negative 100 and then just say 15. And then the smoothness is going to be 100. Might be a little too much up there. If it's doing this, is that going to bother anybody? Maybe. Maybe we could do a -8 and then 1. Flicker length, good, good, good. Smoothness 100, flicker interval, go a little bit higher, a little bit stronger. Good. Save our scene here. Overall, I think this looks really creepy. Okay, any issues here? Okay, let's bake our information now. It really helps to see how it looks with mixed lighting, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the final result. Okay. That is interesting up there. I really like that. So spooky. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and remember what we need to do. Save the scene. Go to our light inspector, light explorer. We're going to go to all of our baked lights. They're already highlighted here. We're going to set them to mixed. Why? So that when we hit bake, the only thing we're baking, we're not baking direct lighting, we're just baking indirect lighting. Okay? So let's go ahead and generate our light maps for this room. And watch the shadows. Watch what happens to the shadows, guys. Here we go. Watch the shadows. It's going to be delicious. It'll make you squeal. Here we go. This is so important. If you're going to make a 3D game, please, for the love of God, at least bake your indirect light. It's going to create some beautiful ambient occlusion. It's going to create some bounced lighting. It's going to make things look creamy. And you want that. I think this is from Winuverse. I think watching people like you actually in the process of development really sets in the work needed to build the vision, their vision. I have yet to see others do what you do when you dive into live streams. Well, I'm not being generous, okay? This video is sponsored, so I'm making money off this video. But I appreciate that. And I like to be completely honest with you guys. Yes, every time I live stream, I make money. And that's because of generous viewers like you. Well, 1% of like 2 or 3 people who buy our courses. It's so, like, a lot of people are like, why do you sell courses? Well, number one, they help you guys because I'm actually somebody in the trenches making games. But number two, it supports our studio. We make money, and that's great. Let's see if this works. Are we ready? Did it work? The theory is it did, but I'm not seeing it. Let's double check. Let's clear the bake. Ah, yes, it did work. Okay, sorry. We're going to do it again. It did work, thank God. We could probably set the indirect intensity to, well, it's set to 2.5 right now. It could be that this room is just not lit enough. You know, I don't know. Why is the lower lamp so much brighter than the one above it? Because the one above it's going to be flickering. Now, we need to write code where the emissive flickers with the point light. So we're going to need to do that. I wonder if I could do that right now. Just have that adjust the emissive. Well, this bake, guys. Come on, geez, be patient. Love the content, but I wish you read the chat a little more. Well, you know, there's only so much I can do here. I mean, I agree. I'll try harder. Hey, man, do you learn game development? Wait, what? Richie, hey, man, how do you learn game development, or how did you learn, and what do you have to watch to get better? Asking you as an indie game dev. Well, I learned game dev by opening... Man, this is going to sound really insulting. I promise I'm not trying to say that. You need to open up Unity and just start trying to make a concept. The best way to learn, in my opinion, is to try and make a concept. So get a concept together and then try and make it. And you'll be learning while you make the concept. That's how I've always learned game dev. I've never gone through a set series of tutorials. I'm not saying that's wrong, because hell, I sell a course that does that. But for me personally, I learn the best when I dig in to the nitty-gritty and try and make something from scratch. And it's funner that way because you can see things you want to make come to life, and that's really fun and rewarding. I think it's a little vibrant. Okay, let's go ahead and open up. Ahmed says, I'm moving to Unreal. I'm not moving to Unreal because of, well, recent... yeah, this is a little dark. I guess it's fine. Look at that guy up there. Let me turn this down. Yeah, this looks a lot better. I wonder why you're not flickering, bud. You know, I feel like we just need a little bit more indirect light, but maybe not. It's a little dark. How are you shooting through? A lot of questions. A lot of questions. Little dark, little dark. Man, I'm curious why that is, guys. Let's double check and see if we're actually using mixed lighting here. It's a little dark. I feel like, so that's set to mixed. You should as well. We probably just need more light in this room. So, yeah, but let's go back in time and make sure all of our lights are not mixed. So we can just watch our light explorer here. We're going to figure out why this room is a little too dark. It's a little too dark. Hang tight. Watch them turn baked. There they go. Okay, so we're good. So let's figure out why this scene is so dark. Okay. Could probably turn on. Man, I just feel like we could turn this one on again. I could be wrong here. I may have made the wrong decision. I told you it was a risk. So let's double check. See if we can like brighten up the room. I love that texture there too. Okay, so that's actually a really good point, Thomas. We're going to keep this here. So sometimes when a room is so big, I've been learning this the hard way. Sometimes when a room is so freaking big, you have to, hang on one sec. You have to light it from like one big central soft source. So we're going to do that really quick. We're going to turn these off here. No, that one's actually kind of needed. Yeah, that one's good actually. We'll turn that one on. That one's going to be off. I love that texture. That cookie is sick. So maybe we could take this point light here. Is this one got a cookie on it? No, it doesn't. So let's crank up the intensity and the range so that it fills in the shadows of our scene here. We want to make sure that the cookie is pretty intense though. Okay. So it's just a balancing act. That's cool. Actually kind of like that. It's got a haunting feeling. I think overall though, I drop this down and then this fella here, a little too intense. Yeah, I kind of like it with the shadows on, but that's just going to create more render time. Okay, I think that's good. I really like it. There's part of me that feels like this light flickering is going to be really cool. So we could, let's see here. Negative, well, let's see what our value is. Our value is currently 2800. So you really want a pretty intense flicker. Flicker interval of 2, no, 0.2. Smoothest value of 2, that's good. Good, okay, so I think that's good. Let's send ourselves into this room here. And let's take a look. I'm gonna press slash here and it should spawn me in there. Okay, it doesn't, so that's because the room got disabled. on play. So we're just going to run to it. Yeah, father was killed, I think, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. This is the same engine, or I call it an engine. It's the same like kit as father, but the concept is completely different. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so is it flickering? No. That'd be so cool if it was like rotating. Let's take it. This looks really good though, honestly. So we're gonna do negative 1000 to 1000. Is that even? I don't think this light needs to flicker. Let's remove that one. It's the point light. Yeah, that's the one. Paste component as new. But it's not flickering. Okay. Static length needs to be 0. Okay, let's wait. Hold on, guys. Okay, so we have a problem. We do want this to flicker, though. It'll make this room look just so much better. I like how it looks, though. I really do. So let's go to our point light cookie here. We're going to remove this flicker effect and put it on this one only. And you guys will notice that I'm being very surgical here. A lot of game development, you don't need to be surgical. But when you've wrapped up the level's design and you know you're pretty much good, that's when you go in and surgically change all the lights to fit within a specific environment. After all, you're trying to create moods, and you want that mood to change. Not frequently, but just enough so the player feels rewarded every time they enter a new area. 500, negative 500. Flicker, static length, flicker length is going to be, static length is 0. Smoothness, we're going to do 2 is fine. Flicker interval of 0.2. It doesn't need to be that intense, so let's see here. What would happen with this light? Yeah, okay. So it's going to be negative 80 to 80. Okay, we'll try that. Save the scene, enter play mode. Sorry, I have to keep running to that same spot, guys. But at least I have all my powers, so I can dash. I really wish I could see more. Okay, is it flickering? Son of a... It is, but it's not. If I pause it and I try and change the intensity, it should do it. What? So it's just very subtle. So I would argue that the smoothness needs to be set like 100. There we go. Flicker interval needs to be much smaller. There we go, Thomas. Okay. And then the smoothness value we can do like 15. How about 2 or 5? 10. There we go. This looks great. Yeah, we definitely need to see that emissive being affected. Do you guys want to write a script and do that? You know, I kind of want to. So, Moralian says you have a twin brother lost in Brazil. Huh. Really? Anyway, let's copy this over. That is good. I'm good with it. I like it. Paste component values. Save. Let's double check and see how it looks with mixed lighting. So again, guys, we're going to make sure all of our baked lights are set to mixed. And hopefully now the shadows are a little bit more, what do you say, illuminated from the indirect lighting. So let's go ahead and bake. Apparently there was lighting that was baked. I didn't realize that. No idea why. Also, I don't know why those enemies were able to shoot through the walls. I've never experienced that before. I think I know. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I know what's going on there. But we'll something we'll need to look at in beta testing. People want to live vicariously through you. Just dev on whatever you want. Unknown says, can you give us some tips or ways that you use to create texture that gives a realistic and cozy feeling? Texture that's realistic. Well, it's colors, number one. So warm tones. Texture that's cozy. I like Victorian textures like we've got here. Victorian and Art Deco, so older textures. Stuff that's soft, right? So things like this carpet, which has a nice little normal map that makes it look like it's fuzzy. Even the walls there have very low smoothness value, so it looks like it's like a canvas, right? All right. Let's hit play. Why are there 800 errors and warnings? Because it's Unity. I've only ever experienced that. As a project nears completion, it's like there's like a million errors. All right, let's take a look here and see what we got. Thomas, are you actively hiring developers? No, I am not. I'm sorry. We just hired the only slot we needed. Looks great. Really looks so much better in here. I love this scene. I do not like you. Why do you look like that? Yeah. So overall, guys, it's much better. The shadows are more lit here. So that's good. This is a little odd looking. Let's see what happens to this guy. Why can he shoot through walls? Let's see here. Look, someone's shooting through those walls. It's because of that. I knew it. So he can see through these walls. This area gets disabled because of a trigger zone. Okay, so we need to solve that. If an enemy is not... If they can't... What's the word? Ah, yes. I know how to solve it. We'll do it another day. Yeah, look at this. The shadows look great. It's a little shiny right there, isn't it? Why is that? Is that water or something? Okay. Very good. I like how this scene's turning out. That is so great. Very, very good. Wow, I feel good, guys. I feel like we accomplished a ton. Just remember, if you want to join full-time game dev, the New Year's sale lasts for 12 more days. Now, the thing is that, you know, it might be the year. It might be the year that you decide that you want to go full-time indie, or maybe you just want to learn how to, you know, work within Unity or Unreal or Godot, and you want to learn how to do 2D art or 3D art like you see here in this game or in my 2D games. The cool thing about my course that sets it apart from everybody else, and the reason why it's a premium course, it is 50% off though. The reason it's a premium course is because it's taught by somebody who's actually in the trenches doing what you dream of doing. And I know that sounds gimmicky, but it is true. I do exactly what a lot of you want to do, and I teach you through this. It's a freaking huge course. I mean, it's like, let's see here. So much to learn, but it's a ton of content. It's premiumly filmed by a film crew. It's edited in such a way that it's easy to understand. You go at your own pace. It's honestly a beautifully well done course. And if you're a student, let me know in the chat what you think about the program. It is massive. So check it out below. You're going to learn all about Unity or Unreal or Godot, whichever one you want to choose. The Unreal and Godot courses are included for free. They're brand new. Also 2D and 3D art tutorials, how to secure funding from a publisher, how to secure funding from Kickstarter, how to hit the Steam front page, the new and trending tab. You might be wondering, well, I would rather learn from somebody who's actually done that. Well, I've done all three of these. So everything you see here I've done, and I can show you exactly how to do it. And it's not like a trick. You just get the course and you learn how to do this stuff, how to run your own studio. And it worked. It worked for my student Chris here, who raised over $170,000 on Kickstarter. It says $100,000 there, but it's $170,000 what he raised at the end of the campaign. He went full-time. Also, Lord Grimm went full-time by securing funding from a publisher. So check it out below. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Love you. Cheers. Get over here. Get down. Hey, thanks for watching. By the way, if you haven't downloaded that free 2D game kit below, click below. It's my treat to you. I used this game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in 14 days, and I actually got to play it with him in front of his audience, which was really cool. This game kit is totally free. It's my treat to you, and you can use it however you want. You can make a commercial game and make $1 million off this game kit. I don't care. Or you could just use it for a hobby project. It's my treat to you. And by the way, if you haven't clicked like, that would mean a ton to me. Hit subscribe. And also, this is important, hit that notification bell. Here's why. If you get notified of when I'm live, you can watch me make my next game, and let me know in the chat what you think about the game or any ideas you have, and you might just show up. Your chat might just show up in the next video that I upload. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.